you so much for these gifts. And then let me know where you're watching from. Okay. Yeah, it might start raining. I hope no, like, lightning cuts the connection. I'm hoping not, but we just, hey, Louisiana. So we'll roll with it. So I'm going to try to be as swift as I can. Okay? Today we're talking about why some women feel like why women keep taking their spots, right? And the reality of the situation is people take your spot when you leave your spot open. They take your spot when you leave your spot open. Many of us have had amazing ideas. Many of us have had, all these great things that we've thought about doing, and then we look up and we see somebody else doing it, very thing that we said that we were going to do. Thank you so much for these likes and these gifts. And we start realizing and start feeling some kind of way about it. And you're like, how does this position and how does this happen? Well, we're going to talk about this today. We're going to get into it today. So we're going to talk about why women keep taking your spot. Power is one of those things to where power is not given to you. Power has to be taken. Okay? It has to be taken or it's sold. It's transferred. Okay? So we're going to get into it today. For those who do not know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette. I'm an energetics and identity mentor. And what I do specifically is that I mentor visionary women to dissolve invisible ceilings. What's an invisible ceiling? And an invisible ceiling looks like you saying, I can only make this amount of money. And then I talked about in my last live how we create these invisible ceilings by things that we simply declare. Some of you will put out a product or service and say, I'm only taking 5 people. And you're only charging $97 for taking 5 people. And when you hit those 5 people and you realize that's not really what you wanted more than that. And when you try to go back and get more, you find yourself at a cap. And you find yourself at a cap because your words are weighty. This is why it says it's power of life and death in the tongue. You capped yourself at 5. So trying to go back and get more after you set the cap, you set the limit, you set the invisible ceiling, that's how you end up staying stuck there. And that's why a lot of people are stuck in the mind frame of I need to make 6 figures or I need to at least make $100,000, even though it's a proven fact that now $100,000 is not any money. But people have it in their mind this cap, and this cap came from, or this ceiling came from stuff that you've heard online. So you limit yourself because you don't really understand. And so that's what we're going to get into today. So when I say I help women dissolve these invisible ceilings, I help women get rid of those things. Women that come to work with me make more money. Women that come to work with me get healthier. Women who come to work with me attract better community and better relationships romantically. That is the results. That's hundreds of women have come to me and gotten those type of results from working with me. So like I said, I mentor visionary women who understand that they are going somewhere in life. They have a vision for their life. They're very, very clear on that. I support them in dissolving these ceilings so that they can embody emotional and energetic authority, so that their wealth, their relationships, and their leadership reflects their authentic design. The reason why a lot of women in leadership, the reason why a lot of women with money, and the reason why a lot of women in certain marriages or partnerships and relationships are exhausted is because they're in spaces that they're not aligned with. They had to put on a mask or put on an idea or put on a different identity to be able to bring that into their life, and they can't sustain that. You can't sustain being in a space where you are pretending to be something that you are not. I exposed this last night in my masterclass where I talked about finish what you start, the physics of feminine follow through. I broke down why women aren't following through on the great lock-in, why women aren't following through after, okay, I'm starting to work out in January and I fall off in February. I talked about why this happens. It's literally science. It's a formula. Everything I teach is rooted in scripture and it is backed up by science. So what I tell you, you don't have to believe. You can go and look up these things for yourself because you will find that what I'm saying to you is the truth. When you violate the science of yourself as a woman, you keep yourself in survival mode. The reason why women don't know how to thrive is because you can't come up from survival mode when you don't understand the science of yourself. This is why I say to women all the time, there are 3 key things that you're going to need on this earth if you want to thrive. If you want to keep surviving, keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to actually thrive as a woman, there are a couple of things that you're going to need. Number one, you're going to need to understand spiritual law. That's how you're going to create your reality. For me, that looks like scripture. For other people, it may look like other things. I can only tell you what has worked for me. I can only tell you what I've been able to utilize and support other women in winning in. I can't speak on anything else, though I have studied a multitude of everything. But nothing seems to compare to what I have found in the Most High. So if you find something better, let me know. I just ain't seen it yet. So for me, that looks like scripture. So when you understand spiritual law, you understand that everything is rooted really in scripture. Then you have understanding the science of yourself. You have to understand the science of yourself so you don't work against your feminine design. Society is set up for you to work against your feminine design so that you can become sick or be a slave to their systems. But you have a choice in that matter. If you understand the science of yourself, then you know how to work with yourself. You don't work against yourself. And not only that, when you understand the science of your feminine design, you begin to understand the masculine better. And you don't expect the masculine to do things that come from the feminine. A lot of women are very confused on how they feel like men should be acting in XYZ when you have not studied the science of the masculine. But there's no point of you trying to study the science of the masculine if you are not willing to invest that energy in understanding the science of yourself. Okay? If you are a woman who is not cycle syncing, if you are a woman who is not in sync with her cycle, if you are a woman who has to look at an app to know when her period is coming, sweetheart, you do not understand the science of yourself. You should be able to look at the moon and know what's up with your cycle. Women that come to work with me understand that. When you come to work with me, you understand that you have a sun clock and you have a moon clock. The sun clock is the circadian rhythm clock, which is what we all have, men and women. That's the clock where your organs are charging every couple of hours. What we also have is a moon clock, what men do not have. We have a clock, a lunar clock. This is your cycle clock. This is your menstrual cycle. So what women don't understand is if you're having an issue with your menstrual cycle, that means you're having an issue with your moon clock. And if you are having an issue with your moon clock, that means that something in your sun clock is off balance. And this is coming from someone who had an issue with cycles and irregular cycles for 21 years. I was in the doctor's office in 2004 when nobody was talking about polycystic ovarian syndrome. At 20 years old, I was being diagnosed with it. So I literally came in the gate at 11 with a cycle that was irregular because I was already off balance. It was a mixture of food and home life stress. See, these are the things that we have to think about when your little girls are having these cycles too early. Okay? There is an imbalance. There is a lack of harmony already happening within the body. Children pick up everything. And we really need to pay close attention to them, especially when it comes down to our little girls, because they are picking up your stresses. They already are coming into life with your stresses, which is why it's very important when you are pregnant that you are to be resting, you are to be in the best state, because she is picking up on all of that. Your babies pick up on these things and it impacts them, and it also can cause a lack of harmony within the body. So because of that, I'm in a space now where I'm 41 years old. I don't have polycystic ovarian syndrome anymore. But they would sit here and tell you that you're going to have it forever. Okay? You're gonna have polycystic ovarian syndrome anymore. But they would sit here and tell you that you're going to have it forever. Okay? You're gonna have it forever. You got to do this. You got to do that. You have to get in line with your feminine design. You have to understand how your body works. You have to understand you have 4 phases in your menstrual cycle, not just the 5 to 7 days that you bleed. You have menstrual, you have follicular, you have ovulation, you have luteal. Your body is doing different things during those phases. This is why you feel moody. You're actually not moody. You're just not in tune with who you become in each one of those phases. We are, as women, are multifaceted. We have to be that way. We have to mother. We literally are multipliers. So everything about us that is so unique that some may think is, okay, it makes me crazy. You have a uniqueness to you. And when you're not in tune with the uniqueness of yourself and the science of yourself, you will think that you are crazy. You will do things that position you to go against the way your body operates until you eventually throw it out of balance. Next thing you know, you are hormonally imbalanced. I went from having absolutely no periods or maybe having periods for 30 days, all through like from 11 all the way until 33 and a half. And then I had a spiritual awakening. I got very close with the Most High, very rooted in who I am. And then when that happened, the Most High began to tell me how to care for myself and take care of myself. And then within 6 months of clear obedience in that space, my body regulated back to where it needs to be. And I'm 41. My cycle doesn't go past 4 days. If I'm cramping, I know something is wrong. I know that I have cold energy in my body. Where is it not released? See, you have to understand that your emotions play a big role with your organs. And when it comes down to your cycle, your organs specifically, there are 4 specific organs that have to be functioning properly in order for you to have a cycle. If you're not having a cycle, pay attention, because this is your number one. These is one of the issues that's happening right here with your sun clock. Is either your heart, hey my lovey, your kidneys, your spleen, or your liver is in trouble. Maybe all of them. But if you are not having one of those is all. One or more, or all are off. And the thing is, when one is off, everything else gets thrown off. So you may as well just understand that it's a complete imbalance that's happening over there. That's why the moon clock is not on time. If the sun doesn't rise when it needs to rise, and if it doesn't stay and do what it's supposed to do, and if it doesn't set when it's supposed to set, the moon cannot show its face. The moon cannot show up at the right time. So this whole thing, you missing cycles, this and that, yes, because you're not in tune with the science of yourself. And if you're not in tune with the science of yourself, how are you going to be in tune with the masculine? How do you think that you're going to have chemistry? How do you think that you're really in your right mind going to be able to recognize chemistry when you don't understand the biology of your own self? So if you don't understand the biology of your own self, you're not going to convince me that you can recognize chemistry. This is why women will take their chemical energy and mix it with other chemical energy. And when there's an explosion, you don't understand what's going on. It's because you don't know the science of yourself. Oh, that light died on me. It's because you don't understand the science of yourself. That's why. Hi, Kendra, love you. That's why. So it's very important for you to understand the science of yourself. Not just the science of yourself in a sense of, oh, it's masculine, it's feminine, left brain, right brain. No, you need to understand seriously the full science of yourself so that you know how to operate, so that you know how to not work against yourself. There's a connection between your brain, your pituitary gland, and your ovaries. If you know how to use it during a specific time and phase of your cycle, you can become, what am I trying to say? You will become so much more creative. You will feel so much more enhanced. And you will know how to use that energy and transmute it in a way to where you can create something amazing for yourself, make more money, finish a powerful project, show up. Like, it's so many different ways that you can use that energy, but you don't understand that. Y'all don't even understand that during certain phases of your cycle, you should not even be trying to have hard conversations with people. See, it's a period in your cycle where you shouldn't be trying to have hard conversations because you already not social. You already have an attitude. You're supposed to be doing something during that time frame. See, that is specific for, it's something for that, but you don't know how to use it. You just got an attitude. But see, when you don't understand the science of yourself, this is the position that you're in. So again, number 2, you need to understand the science of yourself. Number 3, you need to understand the psychology behind your generational lineage, specifically the women in your family. I know a lot of us may think that, oh, because we've gone to therapy, oh, because we've done this, oh, because we've done that, we are so much better than our parents. The reality of the situation is you are not. You are not. You are still a lemon from that lemon tree. And when you get squeezed, when pressure is involved, it's going to be revealed. So it's no need for you to think that you are better than them. It's your position to assess what you've seen in their life and what you know about them, and see the things in yourself, the light and the dark. Take the things that belong, that's elevated you and that's made you and that continue to make you the woman that you are to become. Keep those things, and the things that don't belong, learn how to throw those things in the trash. Because if you don't throw those things in the trash, if you don't get rid of those things, they are going to come up. Pressure builds character, or it reveals character. And where we're going in the age that we are entering, that we've entered into, it's no longer about what do you do? What do you do? It's about who are you? It's about who you are. That's what people are investing in. That's what people are paying attention to. That's what's really happening in this space. And so I need you to really, really grasp that. And I really, really need you to understand that, okay? So those are the 3 things if you want to thrive for sure. in this space, you're going to need that. You got to understand spiritual law. You have to understand the science of yourself, and you have to study your generational lineage, or you're doomed to repeat processes that you claim you hate. So you have to make some different decisions. So let's go ahead and get straight into why it seems like you can't get in certain spots, but it just seems like other women just keep taking the spot that you feel like you need to be in. It's because you leave the spot wide open. So we're going to get into it, because somebody living your legacy right now. Somebody living your legacy, not because she's more talented than you, not because she was more prepared than you. It was because she simply finished what you kept delaying. A lot of you will start something and have the full-fledged, and I talked about this the other day, it's like the first time you get saved and you go up there and you all in the hype and you just all caught up in the emotion, and God is so good and this and this and that and this and this and that, and about a year from now, 2 years from now, you thought all your problems were going to go away. You thought everything was just going to disappear. You thought your life was just going to turn into magic, when in reality, so you're starting to stop. Now you're wanting to disconnect from that process. Now you don't want a part of it because you're no longer on the high. But see, the thing that you have to understand is people are out here. The reason why they're able to get in these positions that you desire so much is because they do not stop. They keep going. I didn't used to be 100 pounds heavier. You know what I'm saying? I didn't lose 100 pounds for me to just be like, oh, I'm just going to stop. You know how many times I wanted to quit? You know how many times I wanted to be done? You know how many days, especially like after my father passed away, I wanted to quit my business. My father died like a month ago. I wanted to quit. I just didn't want to do it anymore. You know how many times you go through that as an entrepreneur? It's not even that anything was wrong. I just wanted to be released from being responsible, or the one who shows up and this and my calling and all these things, right? I just didn't want that. But the reality of this situation is this: I'm not going to delay what's a part of my destiny. I'm not going to look up and somebody else is in the position that I know that I'm supposed to be in, because I've already seen myself being there. Right? Like, you have times when you get tired. Exactly, Kendra. You have times when you get tired, you get exhausted, you want to stop, all these things, but you keep going. But that's why it's so important for you to take care of yourself, because you have the strength and the capacity to keep going. A lot of people don't have the strength and the capacity to keep going because you don't understand the science of yourself. And you really have to understand your internal physics so that you can get stuff done. I'm telling you, you don't have to sit in the state and be stuck there. So like I said, the people that you see in position, it's not because they're more talented than you. It's not that, and we see this all the time. The most talented singer is not the one who normally is the one who's just sitting at the top, the one who has the best vocal range. It's the person who is the most consistent, who doesn't give up, and who doesn't stop. So I want you to understand this part right here. This isn't about a woman taking your spot, any other woman taking your spot. It's about the fact that you left that spot unattended. You hear me? And in a crowded room, if there's an empty seat, do you really expect people not to sit down? Did you really not expect her to sit down? Okay? You said you were going to launch. You said you were going to raise your prices. You said you were going to take up more space this year, but you have not done any of that. You didn't finish. You started, you stuttered, you spiraled, and now you're watching somebody else embody the role that literally has your name on it. Okay? Let me tell you something that most people are not going to tell you, and this is something that you really need to grasp. Finishing is a spiritual act. I never realized that until I really started taking my life serious, maybe like 8 years ago, right? When I really started taking my life serious, I started to realize to actually finish something and complete something is a spiritual act, because we really don't have the strength in this society and in this world to finish things on our own. We really don't, because we live in a society that constantly beats up on us, tells us that we're not good enough, all these different things, which is why it tells us, it tells us in scripture to guard your gates. Be careful what you allow into your space, because it literally can trick you into believing something that's not true. And when you start believing something that's not true, belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. Just like that time you thought you was pregnant and you took a pregnancy test and found out that you weren't pregnant, but you was throwing up, huh? You was sleepy, huh? You could smell everything around you, huh? But what happened? You weren't pregnant. That's how powerful belief is. You can trick your body body into believing something that is not even real. And that is what society does. Society is a society of illusions. And the currency of illusion is control. If I can keep you under the illusion, then I can consistently have control over you. The way you think, the way you behave, the way you act. I can get you to do what I want you to do. This is why it tells you to guard your gates. This is why it tells you to guard your heart above everything else, because from it flows life. Because why society wants to siphon and take and feed off your life. And if you don't become a master of self, you will continue to always be mastered. So finishing is a spiritual help, is a spiritual act. You really can't do it on your own. You really think being in business, like my homegirl says it all the time, entrepreneurship is a spiritual assignment. She ain't never lied. Baby, because I stay wanting to quit. And I built a multi-six-figure business and I still be wanting to quit. And it's not that anything is even wrong. It's not that anything is even wrong that I'm wanting to quit. It is just a lot. I am always having to work on myself and be consistent and be in that space, because I understand that the health of the business is only as good as the well-being of its CEO. And if I ain't taking care of me, if I'm violating the scripture that says you are to love your neighbor as you love yourself, you are to take care of your body because your body is a temple. If I am violating these things, I can't show up. I don't have the capacity. So the more my business expands and the more you grow in these elements, the deeper you got to go in yourself, and the deeper you have to go in the creator. And that ain't easy work. See, showing up and doing this is the easy work, because that's what puts the battery in your back and gives you the boldness and the confidence to show up what you know spiritually and who you are spiritually. But the reality of the situation, going deeper and deeper and deeper in self, you uncover more and more and more about yourself. And it ain't always cute. It's not always pretty. It's not always a fun process. And I talked about this the other day with the Sacred Feminine League. But you have to face yourself, because yes, the rewards are amazing, but the responsibilities also are heavy. So yes, you get to wear the crown. It's cool. It's wonderful. It's cute. But that most crowns are heavy though. Understand that. And so these are the things. Finishing is a spiritual act. That's why. And a lot of women are not, getting in tune with themselves so they can finish. They don't even want to start, because the starting point is facing yourself, and most women don't want to really see themselves. Imagine spending all your life looking in the phone to see if you're cute and looking in the mirror, but never really seeing yourself. That's insanity. But that's what a lot of women do. We walk around here and we are looking in mirrors, and we always doing mirror checks, and we always trying to see if we cute, and we taking pictures when we get close to mirrors, but we never really see ourselves. We never really look at ourselves. We never really do that work, which is why we never really finish anything. It's why we never finish what we really start. So finishing is a spiritual act, not a logistical one. Your inconsistency is not just a productivity issue, okay? It's an identity leak, a frequency fracture, okay? It's a quiet grief of knowing that you had it, but you didn't hold it, okay? You're not, and I want you to get this out of your head, because I want y'all to stop saying certain stuff. Stop saying you lack discipline. Do you understand that discipline is nothing but training? So train yourself. Get the training you need. Stop saying you lack discipline, because you put yourself under a spell that you lack discipline, and you don't execute because you believe that you actually lack discipline. When in reality, you've been trained all your life, because the things that you are doing, the results that you are getting, are based on the training that you received. So you've been training all your life, so you don't lack discipline. Stop saying things like, oh, I'm inconsistent, I lack consistency. Stop saying that. That's not true. We are creatures of habit. If you wake up every single day, that's a consistent thing. That's been a consistent thing for you so far, hasn't it? You are a creature of habit. So you do not lack inconsistency. You're not lazy. Stop saying that. You're inconsistent in your mind. If you want to look at inconsistency, the reason why that's happening is because you're afraid of who you'll become when you really stop abandoning yourself. That's why. You know how many women I talk to that tell me, Elle, I don't want to make this amount of money because no man is going to like me, and I'm not going to be able to find a man who makes more money than me, where I'm going to feel secure and I'm going to feel confident, so I'm going to hold myself back. There are so many women who come to me and say, oh, I don't want to present myself this way because I'm going to come across and I'm not going to be accepted. I don't want to grow because I don't want my people looking at me differently as I'm coming up like I changed. Well, sit in the same spot and see what happens. Because here's the thing, it's been scientifically proven that being stagnant makes you sick. So if being sedentary, sitting down all day and not doing anything, could potentially put you in a position for dis-ease, what do you think sitting in the same place and not growing internally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, where do you think that is going to leave you? You're going to be a slave to your circle. You can only go as high as your thinking. You can only expand as wide as your community, sweetheart. And you refuse to elevate. So you go what? Nowhere. You die long and hard. Because you don't want to rise up. You are afraid of who you'll become. But what you don't realize is when you sit on the frequency of fear, you only have people and meet people who fuel your fears. But if you take the opportunity to transmute and travel up to the frequency of love, to the frequency of peace, do you not believe that there are people there waiting to meet you in that space? To be able to really grow with you? Do you understand the things that you can create from a space of peace, love, and joy? These are spiritual fruits. It literally tells you in scripture that against the fruit, there is no law, which means that you could do nothing wrong when you're operating from gentleness, kindness, faith. There's nothing that can come against you. So what I'm trying to understand is, why are you so committed to the level of fear? Because you are afraid of who you're going to become if you actually grow. If you actually get right, because you scared to go up there. You believe the lie that it's lonely at the top. Is it really lonely at the top, or is it that you don't have people around you validating your piss poor experiences anymore? See, it's cool when you're sitting in a low level frequency and people are all talking about how, yeah, girl, I'm down, everybody down, this is bad, yada, 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 yada. But see, when you start talking about how good things are, people don't want to have those conversations with you on the frequency of fear. So you're going to either have to rise up or shut up. Because they ain't going to want to hear that. Because they like you better when you down. And you would then have to ask yourself, how long are you going to position yourself to stay down? How long are you going to postpone your joy based on somebody else's opinions? You are afraid to become yourself. You are afraid to finally stop abandoning yourself and really grow. Let's get into the nervous system loop of this experience, because this is why women keep taking your spot. You leave it wide open. So hear me when I say this. Your nervous system has literally made adrenaline your home. So that's the only way you know how to function. And adrenaline is not a strategy. Adrenaline, if you keep running on, let me tell you something. And I'm just going to tell you the real. When you allow yourself to consistently be ran by adrenaline, when you allow yourself to consistently be in the pressure cooker and do things at the last minute, you position yourself for things like high blood pressure. You position yourself for early demise. You position yourself to become a dialysis patient. And I'm going to tell you how you do these things. What you have to understand is when you put your body under that consistent amount of stress, your adrenals sit on top of your kidneys like two balls, right? And when you blow your adrenals eventually, because you keep running on adrenaline, when you eventually blow your adrenals, you're going to have to go to dialysis. And with the way society is going, and the things that you hear about what happens in these dialysis centers, in these spaces, and how they really don't care, and how they're really not cleaning, and all these things. And you think about how they're closing things down. If you position yourself where you don't have any money, if you position yourself to where you have stressed yourself into sickness, what is going to happen is you may find yourself in a space where you can't go into these spaces and get the support. And do you know what happens when you cannot have dialysis? What happens is so much toxin gets backed up in your body to the point to where you can go deaf. Imagine not listening to the stress of your body when it screams to the point to where you can no longer hear. See, now what I'm telling you again is science. Because there's a connection between those adrenals and that kidneys and your ear and your hearing. So if you find yourself in a state where your hearing is off, you might want to see what's going on with your kidneys. See, these are the things that you have to be paying attention to. These are the things that you have to really be focusing on. See, y'all let society pump you up with running on, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. They know this gonna make you sick. They know it's gonna make you sick, and you're gonna do what? Run right to their systems, get their support so they can pacify your symptoms and never really solve your problem. Because sickness is big business, and you being sick is money. And all of this comes from you allowing adrenaline to be your strategy. Your nervous system has made adrenaline your home. That's the only way you know how to function. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And you're like that across the board. You in a pressure cooker at work. Deadlines, you're doing at the last minute. You trying to get something together for somebody, dead last minute. You're doing a paper, last minute. You impulsive, so you rushing into relationships. It's a multitude of things that come with your adrenaline being up. You follow the intensity of relationships and fail to get the intimacy, which leaves you feeling emotionally unfulfilled. These are the things that you have to think about. Let's go ahead and break this all the way down. You really don't, a lot of you don't move unless there's some form of panic. You don't post in business the way you're supposed to unless your bank account is screaming saying, hey, you need to hurry, you need some money. Okay, you're welcome, love y'all. Praise to the Most High. You don't assert yourself until you disrespect it. Ain't that crazy? See, it's what a lot of folks do. You don't say nothing about nothing. And the minute somebody say something to you, then you want to rah, 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 rah. But when it's time for you to really open up their throat and speak, when it's time for you to articulate these standards and be firm about it, when it's time for you to articulate these boundaries and be firm about it, when it's time for you to speak and say no to your parents, you don't have anything to say. But when somebody disrespects you, you got a lot to say. You got a whole lot to say. But when it's time to actually assert yourself in a way that's going to position you for better, you don't know how to speak. When it's time to speak about the greatness that's within yourself, you don't know what to say because you don't know yourself enough to speak. So these are the things that you have to really start paying attention to, because you don't have a discipline problem, lovey. Stop saying that too. You have a trauma loop described as a drive for excellence. That's what you got. Hi, lovey. And the crazy part about that is you crave stillness. Like you really, really crave stillness, but you don't know how to feel safe in it though. So you manufacture stress just so it feels real. Y'all do that in relationships too. The first place y'all do that is in y'all mind when y'all make up these narratives and these stories. Let me tell you some of the narratives and stories that these type of women play. You played me. You did that on purpose. Those are very strong statements. How do you know the innermost of another person to be able to confidently speak and say that this person played for sure? How do you truly, truly know that? I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get over on me. See, when you say things like you trying to get over on me, you playing with me, you doing this, you doing that, those are attached to previous memories from previous experiences that you are bringing into this experience that you have not dealt with. Because unless you have full-fledged evidence that this person is fully playing with you, is fully trying to get over on you, like you have clear evidence of that, you don't know that experience to be true. But yet, because you feel it, you trick yourself into believing that's automatically the truth. Which is why a lot of you will go into conversations on defense, because you've already had previous conversations with yourself back and forth about how this is supposed to go and what you're going to do and all these things. And all of this was created based on a narrative that you don't even know is true yet. This is how it starts. See, it starts within. Everything always starts and ends with you, whether you want to realize that or not. So again, like I said, a lot of you crave stillness, but you don't know how to feel safe in no stillness. You don't. So you manufacture all kind of stress just so something will feel real. And a lot of you do this in relationships. When they say the whole thing, you are the drama, you truly are the drama. Don't even nothing be wrong. And then afterwards, you got the nerve to be like, I ain't even have to do all that. Put a 1 in the comments if that's been you, because I've done it before. I've been in that space where I've gone completely off range because of what I thought of something in my mind. And when I did that, and I was like, dang, I didn't even need to do all that because that wasn't even for all of them. It wasn't even for that person. But that's what happens when you don't sit with yourself and you don't process. We've all done something due to a false narrative. This is why you have to make sure you ain't just taking in any and everything. Seriously. Okay? Let's talk about why the ceiling, or feeling like somebody's always else is in your spot, and you know what I'm saying, all that. Like, let's talk about why this ceiling keeps rebuilding itself, why you keep meeting this block and keep hitting this ceiling. Okay? It's because you keep performing for approval instead of building based on your own standards. And women do this a lot in dating. I wonder if this person's likes me. Do you like them? Bigger than that, the real question is, do you like yourself when you're with them? Say la. Because why are you worrying about if somebody like you? You'd already pissed me off with that. Why do you care if somebody likes you? Why do you care? Do you like yourself in this experience with this individual? Because the truth of the matter is, you never really stop liking a person. You don't like who you become being with that person. And that's what you need to address. Women miss that key point. I just don't like him no more. No, you don't like yourself when you're with him. And let's address that. Let's address that so we can deal with the issue. We can remove the problem. Because when you were saying, I don't like this, or I just don't like this person, I just don't like him anymore, I just don't, that it ain't got nothing to do with him. It's all you. You don't like you. Maybe you are a lover girl, and now because this person has shown you they can't be trusted, you feel like you can't be a lover girl around them. So instead of punishing them by not being a lover girl, or punishing yourself by not being a lover girl, why don't you just leave people alone who you can't trust because you're a lover girl? That just makes more sense. That just makes more sense. But people feel like a lot of women feel like they want to be justified, and they got to come and they got to prove a point. That's why y'all be stressed out. That's why y'all be exhausted. You're putting your energy into somebody else. Pay attention, because this is a conservation of energy principle right here. You are using all of your good energy and fueling it into somebody else's ego, making them feel so much better about themselves because you are giving them your time, your attention, your energy, and you probably giving them your money too. And because you're giving them all of this, their ego, their confidence, and all these things are being fueled based on your energy. When you could have been taking that energy and focusing on yourself, you could have been doing the things that you want to do, and you could be seeing the results that you want for your life. But no, you're transferring your energy. You're wasting it. So I won't even say it's wasted, because according to the conservation principle of energy, a conservation of energy principle, no energy is wasted. You either are transmuting it up to elevate yourself, or you're transferring it into someone else for their gain. And arguing with somebody, baby, is the same thing. You are transferring, thank you, my love, you are transferring energy for their gain. Because this is why men don't respond to arguing or yelling or going off, which is why you got to stop talking. Truthfully, stop talking and start putting things in action. Because when you argue, and I'm just going to put you on game so you can pay attention and grasp this, because a lot of women don't grasp this, and this is why you are always met with contention from the masculine. Because of this, when you start doing all that yelling and going off, and I'm not playing with you, and yada 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 crap, you know who that reminds them of? Somebody who know what I'm finna say. Put in the comments what that reminds them of. When you are saying to them and you going off, who does that remind them of? I just want somebody, put in the comments before I even say, thank you, baby. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And guess what? And what did mama say when you was growing up? I'm telling you this because I love you. I'm going off because I love you. I'm doing this because I love you. So all they hear is, I love you. 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 Stop talking. Stop talking. You are violating the conservation principle, energy principle, because you are continuing to take your time, energy, and attention and putting it over there. What are you doing that for? God, y'all be pissing me off with that. All because you want to be right. Do you feel right? Do you feel good after you get through saying all that and going off, and he still don't do what you tell him to do? It don't feel good. It don't feel right, because it makes no sense. Stop doing it. That's twisted, but it makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you said that, because it's the truth. It is. But it's the same element of twisted where women say, yeah, I like when a man to check me. Because you like him to check you because it reminds you of who? Would you just gotta say, if you can tell me what to do, then you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, then you can't tell me what to do. Who can tell you what to do? Daddy can tell you what to do. See? See, that's what I'm saying. This is why the Most High tells us in Scripture that our heart is deceitful. Selah. You have to pay attention to these things. We always think we better. We are spirit beings having a human experience, beloved. The core of who we are as women is manipulative, and the core of who men are is exploitive. Okay? So unless you rise above your core, and the only way for you to rise above your core is to become a master of self. If you don't become a master of self, you are a natural manipulator, and a man who is not mastering himself, he's a natural exploiter. Okay? Get into it. And those people, when they get together, they do those things to one another, which is why they never get what it is that they need, because they never actually master self. And we coming into a season, or we are in a season where mastery of self is important, because the people who are being mastered, they're not magnetic. Therefore, people are not attracted to you, which is why you're not getting what you want, because you're not an energetic match for what it is that you desire. And to desire something without doing the work creates jealousy, which is why you covet the next thing. Oh, I want that. I want that type of relationship. See, that's how it all starts. These are the things that you have to really pay attention to, because we don't realize it. So stop spending your energy. Stop transferring over. Stop. It's not helping you. Actions, I promise you, is a man's first language. You understand? Action. Okay? So again, here's why the ceilings keep rebuilding itself, because you perform for approval instead of building your own standards. You worrying about if people like you instead of if people meet your standards. Does this person even meet your standards while you're concerned about if they like you or not? Does this person qualify for the job? Why are you concerned about if they like you? Can they do the job? Huh? Okay. Number 2, the second reason why these ceilings keep being built over your head, where you feel as if, other women keep taking your spot, is because you apologize for being too much. And then you end up living too little. I'm going to say that again. You apologize for being too much, and you end up living too little. Okay? I'm the type of person, I am threefold. One aspect of me is extremely disciplined, extremely rigid, extremely structured, extremely ... That part of me is excellent when it comes down to business. Chef's kiss. Structure, all of that. Emotional intelligence, boom, boom. It does amazing in business. That's one aspect of me, right? So let's just call that element earth, right? I'm a very grounded individual. There's another aspect of me that is ocean deep. Completely emotional, feels everything, claircognizant, clairsentient. I have a knowing, I have a feeling, and it's always what it is. It's a gift from the Most High. And it also can be extremely overwhelming. So that requires me to pull back, have a lot of solitude, to prep myself, because I feel everything. Then there's the final aspect of me. She's a wild one, okay? We'll call that middle element water. So we have earth and we have water. Earth and water, they can kind of go together. Yeah, they're great. But it's the fire in me, though. That's the one. That's the one right there. The fire in me is wild. The fire in me does not care what anyone thinks. The fire in me is very bold. The fire in me is very direct. The fire in me will either warm you or burn you. Pick your poison. It will be on you, because the fire is the mirror. You understand? I don't walk around trying to conceal those aspects of who I am. I am who I am. It all depends on the timing, the setting, and what's appropriate of what aspect of me is going to come out. I don't apologize for being too much. When a person feels as if that's too much, then I am just not the one for them, because one thing about it, I am a mirror. So if I'm too much, facing yourself is too much. And so when women tend to apologize, oh, I'm sorry. I used to be one of those women, because I was so independent, I was so hyper independent. Even when I would cry in front of people, I'd be like, I'm sorry. Because I felt so uncomfortable crying in front of other people. I feel like I was violating them. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it all together because I didn't feel comfortable allowing myself to be free, to be vulnerable, to be emotional, because I was seen as this rock and the structure and the rigid and this and that and the one who always has it together. You are not a monolith. Okay? We go through 4 seasons in 1 month, according scientifically to our cycles. We literally become 4 different people in a month. You understand? You're not nuts. What you have to understand is that you're not too much. You need to learn how to work with yourself and fully radically accept yourself. And in you doing that, that is going to radiate because it boosts your confidence. And confidence is nothing but believing in the fullness of yourself. So once you do that, confidence is what is magnetic. That's what people are attracted to. That's what brings people in. That's the milkshake that really bring everybody to the yard. The fact that you have the confidence is the confidence that's radiating. But you can't do that if you're apologizing for being too much. And that's what a lot of y'all doing. Hiding yourself. I ain't gonna do this because he ain't gonna like me. Girl, who? Let me tell you something, sweetheart. He gonna get this fire, he gonna get this earth, or he gonna get this water. And guess what? And how it lands, how it lands. It's gonna be, I'm gonna be in my feminine nature. Don't get it twisted. But I'm gonna be me. You understand? And I'm not going to be anything other than that, because anything you attract under false pretenses, you can't keep. So don't. Okay? Period. Because when you get in a relationship, are you gonna hide forever? Right. You gonna keep lying? You gonna get exposed. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Here's a third reason why a lot of women continue to find themselves in a space where they keep building this ceiling. They wait for chaos to act. You wait till somebody break up with you. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, for you to work out and get fine and level up. You want to start, as soon as somebody breaking up with you, now you want to listen to stuff to get your mind right in the morning and do this so you can not do this again. And you only going to do it for a little while till you start feeling better. Or really and truly, let's go on and keep it real. You only going to level up until certain type of men start being attracted to you. You only going to level up to the level when you start getting the attention or what you feel is the magnetism that's coming from men, coming your way. So you're going to level up all the way up until that point and just kind of stop. Because you're never really doing it for you. That's what I be saying. Like when women wait for chaos to act, you really don't want to change your life. You just need something to do to keep your mind off, oh boy. You understand? Until the next old boy runs around, which is why you end up repeating the time loop of continuous men that have the same spirit in different bodies. You continue to meet old boy. It's because you're not really catching up and you're not really paying attention to the fact that you only move based on external stimuli. If somebody piss you off, provoke you, or make you panic in some kind of crazy way. The fourth ceiling that a lot of women tend to create, why it keeps rebuilding itself, is because a lot of women will trade emotional authority for temporary attention. You will fold just because it's ovulation time. You know why you keep folding during ovulation time? Because you don't understand ovulation, the science of yourself, to know what you really could be doing with ovulation time. That could put you in a better position. So you settle to just be on your back. Huh? So you could feel something. Get a little itch scratched. You let any and everything enter into your portal during the most powerful time. Huh? And then you wonder why you can't think. You wonder why you keep getting flashbacks. Let's just go on, okay? Because I can go on for days. Number 5. Okay? The next reason why the ceilings keep getting built is because you leave or you quit before things get activated. It's kind of like when you're working out and they tell you to do that circuit and you do your last few rounds and you be want to quit when you're on your last set of 15. It get to 12 and you start doing that hip thrust and you're like, oh God, okay, hold on, wait. And you want to quit so bad you want to stop. you can't stop, because those last 3 reps are really powerful in the activation process of what's happening within your body. So you got to keep going. A lot of you will stop right there at the 12. If you hit the 15, that's when the magic really happens. That's when things compound. So you stop before you start. Okay? Before things really get active. A lot of women say that they keep rebuilding, or let's just say this. With all of these things that I'm talking about, this is why you keep rebuilding the same glass ceiling over your head with your own hands. And then you keep blaming the sky for not opening up. A lot of y'all getting mad at the Most High for not giving you things that you've been begging for and that you want. But how can the Most High bless you when you have something over your head? You have something in between that you put there. Because understand that the Most High never puts wedges between you and the Most High. We can only put wedges between us and the Most High. So if the Most High said that the Most High will supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory, you've never seen the righteous begging for bread or forsaken. If these things are true and you know the Most High to be truthful, then why is it that you're not getting the things that seem to be in alignment with you, that are on assignment with you? There must be something in the way. What is in the way? And the majority of the time, it's things that we have put in those positions to be in the way, to block us from getting what it is that we want. And because the reason why, thank you, my love, the reason why I call them invisible ceilings, right? Because you can't see them. You looking up to the sky like, hey, what's going on? Why am I not getting this? You can't see the invisible ceiling because the invisible ceiling is in your subconscious mind. That's why it's not clear. And you come to work with somebody like me, who brings you to the depths of your subconscious mind, who lets you see exactly what it is. And then from there, it's easier for you to make decisions because you are now aware and you have understanding. It tells you in scripture, of all things, get an understanding. Get an understanding. So that's why the ceiling keeps rebuilding itself. But let's just get into it, because it's not just business, it's your body too. So when you're talking about feeling like, why women keep taking my spot, what does this look like? Let's talk about how this opens up spirally across the board. When it comes down to love, you romanticize men who chase you, but you sabotage the ones who actually stay. You create drama to feel something. Because consistency, the truth is, consistency makes you feel trapped instead of held. Because you don't know what that's like. Many of you are out here asking for something that you're not prepared for. You're asking for $1 million, but you don't have a plan for $1 million. If somebody called you on the phone tomorrow in 5 minutes and said I have $1 million for you, but you just need to tell me what you plan to do with it in order for you to get it. A lot of people wouldn't be able to get that $1 million because you don't have a plan. Why? Because you don't expect it. And you don't expect that because you don't expect blessings and radical things to happen in your space, because you're not in tune with yourself to even know that those things can actually happen for you. But you're not tapped in. Why? Because you're still sitting on the frequency of fear. Let's get into it next. Let's talk about how you do this with money. Okay? You avoid raising your prices not because you don't deserve it, but deep down you fear the responsibility of being taken seriously. I can't tell you how many women struggle to take their first $10,000 payment because that says something. See, when somebody put a hot 10 in your hand, and I ain't talking about coming from 9 to 5. I'm talking about they paying you a hot 10 for the service. It should scare you. It should make you stand up. It should make you straighten up, because to whom much is given, much is required. That is scripture. Everything I teach is rooted in scripture, backed up by science. I'm telling you, you a spirit being having a human experience, and you got to understand that the scripture is a code. And when you sit with it long enough, it begins to reveal itself. And once it reveals itself and it gets tattooed on your heart, you know how to maneuver. You know how to operate. You know how to create the life you want using spiritual law. You understand the bounds. You understand how much power you have in a world that makes you feel powerless. You understand? So it's very, very important for you to really grasp and understand that when you are giving something great, you have a responsibility. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. See, everybody want to manifest stuff, but they tell you about intention and intention setting in manifestation, but they leave out the biggest part. See, and this is the thing that you have to understand about high-level sorcery. High-level sorcery will tell you some form of truth, but they won't tell you the whole truth. Be wary of the one who teaches you manifestation, and speaks about setting intentions and affirmations, but does not teach you about the responsibility and the accountability that comes with it. Understand that. See, they're not teaching you to... See, one thing about me, If I'm going to teach you spiritual things, I'm going to teach you the real of it, and I'm going to teach you the consequences of violating it. You understand? Because you need to know both. You need to know both so you are making a true decision. That's what I respect about the Most High and the Most High's word. The Most High allows us to choose, doesn't try to do high-level sorcery to trick us. We don't have to read. We don't have to study. We don't have to seek. We don't have to ask. We don't have to do any of these things. But we live in a society that forces things through our gates. They use all kind of high-level sorcery and all kinds of illusions to be able to control our thinking. And if you don't become a master of self, if you don't renew your mind daily, like it says, then your mind will be renewed with something else. Okay? And this is something that you really have to pay attention to. So again, a lot of you in business are not avoiding raising your prices because you don't think you deserve it. You're afraid of the responsibility that comes with it. You should not be afraid of the responsibility that comes with it when you are always seeking, you are always asking, you will always find, you will always have, you will always know, you will never lack. You understand? There is no failure, there is no lack in the kingdom. And according to Proverbs 8 and 12, you have creative and witty inventions in your very being. So you should always be able to create, always have. You understand? So this is very, very important and extremely vital. Understand that anything that you manifest, if you do not understand IRA, which is intentionality, responsibility, and accountability, don't try to manifest that because you won't be able to keep it. Okay? Let's get into trust. Here's another aspect of how this spills kind of over and why women keep taking your spot. Okay? You ghost your own ideas. You market from confusion. You launch in panic because you just need money really quickly, and then you wonder why nobody buys from you. You can't operate from that energy because money is energetic. Okay? Money is extremely energetic. You're not flaky. You're just a bit fragmented when it comes down to the frequency you need to be on. And this is your moment to reintegrate and get yourself together because you have to finish what you started. Okay? So understand that what I'm saying, the woman who needs another permission slip, the woman who overplans and never acts, and how can I say this? The woman who makes survival her personality, you're not going to understand none of this. None of this is going to be for you. This is for the woman who is powerful but porous. She everywhere. She's powerful, but everybody sees she's powerful, so everybody tries to lean on her. And due to her lack of boundaries, she allows them to pull on her. She got too many people pulling on her. Okay? The woman who is brilliant but bleeds out because she has these false starts. She feels like she has to do this in order to do this. She has to do this in order to achieve that. No. Okay? So this is also for the woman who can speak on stages but can't organize her own schedule, can't get herself together. If your nervous system is allergic to ease, then your class or this class is going to be the cure for you. And it's the Finish What You Start Masterclass, okay? The Finish What You Start Masterclass is a class that positions you to understand the physics of feminine follow-through. We are not men. We don't operate like men. We don't do things like men. You have to understand the science of your body and how it works. This class, we had it last night. I was not going to resell this class. I was not even going to go live today. I was going to chill. But I was late to go on and come. So I said, I will go on and come. You can get the class today. This is the only day you can get it. Because I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do with the class. So there's no confusion. The Finish What You Start Masterclass, the physics of feminine follow-through, teaches you your inner physics. It teaches you how to use Newton's laws of motion to make sure that you execute every single thing that you want to execute. You want to lose weight and be a part of the Great Lock-In? This is going to help you learn how to stop overthinking. If you struggle with overthinking, it will break the spell of overthinking for you really quickly. Every time you find yourself in a position where you're about to overthink something, I give you a formula and a process to pull yourself out of it within minutes. You literally have a choice to make at that point. Either you gonna do or you not gonna do. So all that overthinking, all that, thinking you lazy, thinking you lack discipline, thinking, that you're inconsistent, all that stuff goes out the window because all those things are lies. You don't understand the science of yourself, and you never had a framework that taught you how to maneuver when stuff is going right. It's always when things are going wrong or when you're in a pressure cooker that you're able to get things done. But you notice how you crash when it's over. Your body is telling you something and your body is breaking down more and more every time you do that. So with Finish What You Start, this is what's going to end up happening. It's not about hustling. It's about reprogramming the part of you that thinks that being on fire is the only way to move. Y'all, let me tell y'all something, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be off this. If you think that they are punching down on you now, if you think that they have heat on you now with the things that they have done this year, I am telling you that they are just getting started. Do you hear what I'm telling you? I'm trying to get you to hear what I'm saying without hear what I'm saying it. They are just getting started. If the only way you can move is by the fire, you're going to get burned up in the fire, because they're going to throw so many fire daggers, so many fire bombs, so many things that you consistently to where you cannot even catch your breath and keep up. And some of you are already in that state right now. And I am telling you, you have got to figure out your physics so that you can execute and get things done. Because at the end of the day, despite how many fire daggers and fire flames and fire arrows that they are throwing at you and doing all these different things to you, I am telling you, you're going to have to keep going. And you're going to need the capacity and the capability. And if you don't know how to operate your physics, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, if you don't know how to operate in your science, you are going to drown. And I don't want that for y'all. I truly don't want that for y'all. This is not the time to be wasting your energy in the wrong spaces. Please be very careful of this. It is not a joke. It is not a game. It is not a gimmick. Y'all know I stopped doing master classes because I was like, oh, I'm only doing them every quarter. I did the one last night, and I'm doing one more before the year out on the sun clock and the moon clock. That's it. Because if y'all don't get it after that, the women who have been doing the work, the women I've been working with for years, those are going to be my focus. The women who continue to do what they need to do, those women are going to be my focus. Whoever is left who needs this last piece, get it while you can, because it is not going to be available to you. Let me also say this too. The class is $222. You can only get it today. If you don't get it today, it's going into the Monetize Like a Muse bundle for $14.97, and $14.97 as in $1,497. So you can either buy it in the almost $1,500 bundle that teaches you how to sell and elevate your business, or you can get it for $222 today, because that is the only time. I was not going to resell it at all, but everyone who was in the class last night, there was not a person in the class last night that said that class was well over $300. The top number that I got, somebody was like, how much would you pay for this class? They was like $888. That's how much power is in that class. I'm teaching you how to understand the science of yourself in such a way to where for the rest of your life, you're going to always be able to execute. Always be able to execute if you understand this formula. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. If I don't do nothing else, I understand the science of self, sweetheart. So if you want to understand your physics and get that work, click the link in the bio and get access to it. You will get your email with the once you pay, you will get your email with the course, the replay, and everything in it. Cynthia said last night, let me say, oh, thank you. All praise to the Most High. She said, last night was transformative. You will not regret it. I'm a brand new follower and not a loyalist. Yes. Last night was my first time meeting Cynthia. Last time. My first time, not last time. It was my first time meeting Cynthia, right? So, and it was a beautiful experience. The women who were in there, I was asking, it was very like interactive. I was like, put a 1 in the comments if you understand what I'm saying here. If you grab this here, I'm sorry, is it a beginner course? I'm new here. Yes, it is. If you struggle, if you are a person who starts things and you don't finish things, if you started a business and you ain't finished it, if you started a workout plan, you haven't finished it, if you started anything and you don't finish it, this is going to help you get rid of the lies. You're going to stop saying you lazy. You're going to stop saying you lack discipline. You're going to stop saying you inconsistent, because none of those things are true. None of those things are true. What you're going to find out is that there is a scientific way. Physics, Newton's laws of motion teach you how to move and how to get things done. You can pull yourself immediately out of overthinking. I give you a full-fledged formula on how to do so. You learn a whole lot. This is a couple of things that you're going to get. Here are the things that we fix. We fix your execution identity. I help you find out why you stall, why you disappear, and why you relapse. See? You need to figure this out, because when you know this, you can position yourself and prevent this from happening when you are trying to get something done, so you can progress and push through the process. The second thing that we're going to fix is the physics of follow through. We're going to go through your momentum. We're going to talk about friction. We're going to talk about energetic leakage, because all of these things play a factor of why you're not following through. When you're able to identify these things, you can be like, that's what I've been doing. Okay, I'm operating from this. This is how I can change this. And then you can go on and finish what it is that you were doing. Okay. The third thing we're going to fix is your emotional frequency. So you stop chasing and start receiving. This is how you really start magnetizing things into your space. So what I'm telling you, like Cynthia said, this ain't hype. It's literally nervous system integrity. People are on here telling you need to be, your nervous system needs to be calm when you're with him. Your nervous system needs to be regulated. They're not telling you how to regulate it, though. I'm teaching you the science. I'm teaching you the science on how to regulate. So even if you are a person, and I'm a believer, but even if you are a person who's not a believer, it literally breaks down scientifically how you are able to do this. This is nervous system integrity. This is physics that I'm showing you, okay? So like I said, it's $222. You can get a recliner firm and afterpay. You can click the link in the bio. It's only going to be available today. As of 11:59, that thing is not going to work anymore, and it's going to be in the bundle for the Monetize Like a Muse system, where the only way you can get it is going to be for basically almost $1,500, which is my sales system, and it teaches you a whole bunch of stuff. You can go and read about Monetize Like a Muse. But anywho, that's all I have for today. I'm going to take a few questions. Do you guys have any questions for me? I have to go get a facial. So I'm going to take a few questions before I get ready to get off here. Let me know what questions you have. Drop those in the comments. Click the link in the bio to get access. Once you pay for the course, you're going to get your email with the replay information in it, with all the other information that we cover in the course. The replay has already been sent out to everyone who was in class. So or who wasn't even in class either. So if you weren't in class, you got access to the replay. The replay was sent out this morning, maybe around 7:45 a.m. Women were talking about, how much they really enjoyed that class. They were asking questions on the spot, being supported. It was a really, really, really an amazing class. If you are struggling to finish things, you might be trying to follow through in the wrong energy. It may be you don't understand your feminine design, so you can't follow through. If you understand, and if you grab this class, you're going to understand the physics behind feminine follow through. There'll be no more excuses. Okay, so drop your questions in the comments for me. Excuse me. And if there are no questions, I'm gonna go. But that's why they taking y'all spot, y'all. Leaving it wide open. Stop leaving your spot open. Because I promise you got a spot. It says in scripture that we have dominion, which means that we have our own lane. You can't get in your lane if you don't know what it is. You can't get in your lane if you don't get dominion over yourself. You can't have dominion over anything else if you don't get dominion over your own vessel. Okay? These things are extremely important, extremely vital. So click the link in the bio to get access. Any other resources or anything that you see, click the link in the bio. If you're a Substacker, click the link in the bio to get access to my free and paid Substack and a multitude of other things. Can you repeat the reasons about the ceilings really quickly? Yeah, I'll run through those real quick before I go. My page. Okay, so here are the ceilings that women keep reactivating. You perform for approval instead of building your own standards. You apologize for being too much and end up living too little. You wait for chaos to finally act. You trade emotional authority for temporary attention. And you leave before the magic compounds. So basically, you keep rebuilding these glass ceilings with your own hands and then blaming the sky for not opening up. These are all decisions that you're making. Hear what I'm saying? She performs, she apologizes, she waits, she trades, she leaves. Catch those? She performs, wrong. She apologizes, wrong. Not for herself. She waits, too long. She trades, and she leaves. So all of these things are examples of a woman abandoning herself. So if you're abandoning yourself, if you're abandoning yourself, how do you expect to receive blessings when you won't even stay in position for yourself? How do you expect to be? You won't even stay in position. So why would you? How would you? You can't. This is the thing that we have to understand about ourselves as women, and we have to stop playing ourselves, okay? All right, y'all. I'm about to get ready to go. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing day. Happy Feminine Friday. This is going to go up on YouTube. Congratulations to those, because I see some people have purchased. Congratulations to those who have grabbed their seat, or well, I'll say their replay, because honey is going into Monetize Like a Muse. It's going right over there in their $14.97 bundle. So if you don't get it today by $11.59, baby, hang it up. That was a very, very powerful masterclass. And when I tell you, it's extremely simplified down to the bone of execution. So there are no more excuses. Congratulations to the women who have stepped into the fullness of that experience, because I cannot wait to see what they actually create. All the things that they follow through on. They got some real deep understanding, and I am just elated, honestly, about the experience. So yeah, thank you so much for these gifts. Oh, those are pretty. Those are really cute. Thank you. I love those. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here since 2014. Thank you. I appreciate that. Same to you. All right, y'all, let me go. Y'all have an amazing, amazing day. Congratulations to the ladies who are going to be stepping into full-fledged execution, who will not be waiting till January, who will not be waiting until October 1st, who are already locked in. Shout out to the ones who've been locked in since September 1st, and shout out to the ones who finna get locked in, okay? I hope y'all have an amazing, 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 I do mean amazing weekend. Remember, self-care is the key fundamental of every single relationship, and you set the tone of how people treat you. By the way you treat yourself, you should treat yourself exceptionally well, because you deserve it. But if you don't believe you deserve it, I'm not gonna argue with your perception of self, but I would strongly suggest that you assess or elevate that perception of self so that you can receive what you deserve. All right, y'all, have an amazing, amazing weekend.